Every good morning starts with a hot, fresh cup of joe. Welcome back to the Scale Builders Guild. Thanks again for watching. It's episode 54 of What's on the Bench Weekly. And if you're not familiar with this show, it's where I take you through projects, sometimes show you just trucks. This is one of those days. And if you like looking at trucks, hit the like button. Subscribe if I have... if you like looking at trucks. If you like looking at trucks and you haven't in a while. If you like looking at trucks, hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already and ring that notification bell so you get updates anytime there's a new video from the Scale Builders Guild. Today on the bench, we're looking at all the Vanquish trucks that I own. And this was suggested to me by Josh. Shocker. Mostly because I don't have anything else really with any progress. Last week was very busy, so this week is all about trucks that I already have that are done. So let's start with the holy grail of RC trucks, the Vanquish Ripper. There are many like it, but this one is mine. What can I say that hasn't already been said about the Vanquish Ripper? It is a very amazing piece of machinery. It's every panel you see is machined out of aluminum, big blocks of aluminum. Vanquish did this truck sort of as a what's possible? What can we do? What can we do to sort of go beyond what we normally do? Normally they're just responsible for things like axles and wheels. But this was sort of an exercise to see if they could do a whole truck. And while the basis is an SCX-10-2, it's mostly Vanquish stuff, if I'm honest. Other than the frame rails, everything on this is Vanquish. In origin. So, the tires, of course, but yes, every panel, solid aluminum, big blocks of aluminum were machined to create every single thing you see here. This is not the original front bumper. This was designed after the original Ripper came out, but this one is, in my opinion, a much better fit. When you ordered your Vanquish Ripper, you had the option to choose what color panels you wanted, what color axles you wanted, what color transmission case you wanted, what color cage you wanted, and they would anodize it in a certain number of colors that they were offering at the time. You could do blue, you could do orange, you could do red. There were a bunch of different options, but I went sort of clean with mine, and then I had Freaky Skins do the livery, which I based off a U4 truck that I saw at the time. This was using the Scale Builders Guild logo with the gray instead of the blue, and it just all went together. I thought it looks really good. This one has been rebuilt a number of times. Its most recent rebuild, I think, was last year, and I put fresh F9s under it, and I still haven't run the darn thing. I know, I'm a bad person. I probably intended to take it with me to Axial Fest because this is an Axial Fest legal truck. It's got axial internals in the axles. The transmission is a 3-gear axial style transmission, and it uses axial frame rails. So it had all the things it needs to be legal for that sort of event. Yeah, I haven't been to Axial Fest in 5 years. Holy cow. I should probably go back. One other nice feature, because this is using a bomber interior, I did end up getting myself a scale-built UK 3D printed, or 3D resin printed interior panel. And this adds some nice scale details and lights, and a little tiny screen that also lights up. Also out of these shock reservoirs as well, I designed and printed those through Shapeways a number of years ago. And there's also a Lowrance satellite GPS signal thingy on there as well. So lots of nice little bits and pieces. I ended up going with the yellow tint on the Q series headlights. I thought that added a nice little touch as well. Big old light bar on the top, and everything works via many channels on the radio. Definitely one of my most favorite trucks in my collection, and one of the things that I will never sell. Or maybe I'm not going to sell it. Ever. Okay, on to the next one. Okay, next on the list, another pride and joy of the collection, the LS Post. This started as a Vanquish VS410 builder's kit, I believe. or maybe it was a Pro. I can't remember. It's been a long time. But the basis of this truck is a VS410. And on top, you see a beautifully hand-constructed vacuum-formed styrene body by Westmade. This thing is absolutely spectacular. If you've never seen any of Wes's work before, this is a perfect example. It's all, it's hard to believe this, but it's all vacuum-formed styrene. He creates bucks out of MDF that he molds himself using a variety of tools. And then he vacuum forms the styrene over it to create all of these panels. And then everything just kind of glues together. It's pretty spectacular. There's some nice touches on this. The metal on the hood for the louvers there, that was hand bent. There's some metal tubing in here for the fenders. It's honestly, it's spectacular. It's hard to believe that this started as sheets of styrene because it is so clean. It's just so really well done. The original truck was the LS Mail, an LS swapped mail Jeep that they used for delivering the mail. This is sort of the Canadian version, and I thought Wes did a really nice job on it. My only role in this was shortening the chassis, changing the servo position, because obviously it's quite a short wheelbase little truck. It was tough to get everything kind of in there and hidden. It is running a VFD transmission. And this is the bend and braze front bumper from Scale Metal Supplies. I left it raw because I liked how it looks after a bit of patina. That's natural patina, not weathering that I did myself. But mounting the body was definitely a bit of a challenge, and fitting everything underneath there was also a challenge, but everything works really well. Battery routes to the back, and there's a nice little box in the back there for putting a little tiny battery. This truck works really well. It is pretty amazing because obviously the tires are so pushed far out to the ends of the body that there is really a very low center of gravity and a really nice footprint for such a lightweight body up top. I mean, it's not a heavy truck by any means, and it definitely performs quite well. I really like this one a lot. It's one of my all-time favorites, despite the fact that I didn't really have much to do with the construction of it. It's just one of those things that Wes made for me, and I just absolutely love it. It's one of those things that you look at it and you go, yep, that's a keeper. So there you go. That's the LS Post, which I think is absolutely spectacular. We've got Ozzy L driving it there too, on the right side of the road for a mail truck. On to the next one. Okay, next on the list is a Vanquish VS410 Phoenix. This is the portal axled version. This one came out first, and this was a factory, first run prototype that was sent to me so I could do a run and review prior to the release of the vehicle. It's seen a lot of changes over the years. It was stock when we started, but now it's featuring this nice CC hand wood and metal flatbed on the back, which I think looks so awesome. It's very heavy duty, adds a ton of weight. So this is not much of a performer anymore. It definitely took a performance hit for the looks, but I'm really happy with the result. This was super easy to put on, and the way it mounts and the way it still retains all of the original sort of mount points for the front of the body, everything's nice and rigid on there too. It's a really nicely designed piece, and I think it looks fantastic. Also added an exhaust tip under there. There it is. And a nice big old light bar on the top here, which I thought was a nice touch. These are all SLS nylon sintered printed file sort of things. Even these marker lights are too. But it all is pretty rigid, pretty heavy duty, and does take a good amount of abuse. I've rolled this truck a number of times, and it still works spectacularly well. Also in there are some lights from My Trick RC. Same thing for all the lights in the light bar. There's also, there is a scale built interior in this truck as well, which I'll have to get some B-roll of so you can see it. And then the driver, he is a Tamiya Bruiser driver, and he was designed for these bodies. When Knight Customs designed the interior panel, he made it so these guys would fit perfectly. So if you're looking for the perfect size driver, Tamiya Bruiser driver. That's all you need. And there you go. I think that's pretty much all we can say about this. Okay, on to the next one. Don't be shocked, it's another VS410 Phoenix. But this is the straight axle edition. I painted this one up in a DeWalt theme to match my driver, the gyro driver that I use all the time, my favorite tool. I wanted to have something to sort of tribute that, because Vanquish did one with the Milwaukee style logo, which I thought was really cute. And this is my take on that. Nothing much has changed from this one, from the kit. Obviously different wheels and tires, and I did add F10Ts to make it more Toyota-esque. What else did I add? I also added a snorkel. That's from CC Hand as well. Again, another driver there, another Bruiser driver who is missing an arm. Huh, I wonder where that went. I will have to locate that arm. At least the thing that I'm most pleased with on this truck was the paint job. It's fun to cut these masks and to custom paint a truck and to make it look like something that it necessarily wouldn't look like. Yeah, but I'm really pleased with this one. And it's probably one of my most favorite driving trucks. I actually like to drive this one the most. The straight axles to me are just a much better look on this truck, especially when it's the F10T, because that Toyota axle just looks so awesome. So there you go. That's another Vanquish VS410 Phoenix. I'll bet you can guess what the next one is. I assure you it's entirely a coincidence that they are all in the primary colors, but here is the Vanquish VS410 Phoenix ready to run. And that's how it is. It's ready to run. I have literally not done anything to it except run it. And the ready-to-run version is great. The radio that comes with it is fantastic. The electronics are great. The motor is strong. The servo is strong. The tires are good. It's really the whole package, minus the panels for the rear bed. But otherwise, it's absolutely one of the best ready-to-runs you can buy, and one that I would highly recommend. And in fact, I will put a link down below to where you can pick most of these, except the Ripper, up and get one for yourself, because Vanquish has done a really tremendous job in a very short amount of time. Lots of research and development, lots of time spent in the engineering department, lots of time spent in the design department by some very talented people to create some very amazing trucks. And I suspect they've got a very good future ahead of them. And hopefully they'll put more of my logos on the box and on the sticker sheet. Talking to you, Brandon. Yeah, I think is that all of them? I mean, I've got lots of axles and wheels and stuff, but as for pure Vanquish vehicles, I think that is all of them currently. Yes. Well, technically the Capra is mostly Vanquish now too, because it's got a Vanquish 3 gear and Vanquish axles, and all that's really left there is the cage of an axial truck. But this is all about Vanquish. So yeah, I think that's going to do it. Another kind of oddball episode, but we'll get back to building in the next couple weeks. Thank you so much again. If you enjoyed this, please hit the like button, and we will see you again next week.